We'd like to welcome His Holiness Bhakti Prabhav Maharaj. He's known to all of you because he's been teaching, as far as I recall, every module of the Bhaktivedanta course, or at least the second and third modules. I don't remember the first one. Maharaj has multiple services for ISKCON, and one singularity about him in regards to any other teachers is that he actually owns the Bhaktivedanta diploma. So he did the yagya of study the course. He was one of the fortunate people who took the Bhaktivedanta course in the beginning with Burijan Prabhu and Mother Narayani. And I particularly wanted him to teach this section. I was just double checking with him because I couldn't remember, but he's done seminars on the 24 Gurus and the Avanti Brahmana, and that's the section that he'll be teaching. And he will be with you for 2 weeks. So I hope you enjoy the session. I'm sure you will. And just a reminder that we will have the test on Friday at 2:30. Okay, thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Welcome.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svam Rupakadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shivo Shiyoda Padakam Shivam Vaishnavam Sham Shirupam Jagajatam Sakanaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parjana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakanalita Shivishakam Vitam Sa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Bandhavati Atpate Gopesha Goprakanta Radhakanta Namastati Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanasva Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamana Hari Priye Vankha Kalpta Vishake Pasna Bevisha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavini Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachaya Desatana.
Recording in progress.
Hare Krishna, we will start now with chapter 7.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Chapter 7.
Recording stopped.
Of the 11th canto. The chapter is entitled Lord Krishna Instructs Uddhava. This is the beginning of the Uddhava Gita. Uddhava Gita will go till the later chapters of this 11th canto. And we are fortunate to have also the commentaries of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj on Uddhava Gita, which we find in this book that you know probably, Uddhava Gita, and also commentaries by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur.
Recording in progress.
Sanatan Goswami, Shiva Goswami. Oh, we will go through them, that at least the essential commentaries. So we have Lord Krishna is going to leave this world, and he has made arrangements for the disappearance of the Yadu dynasty, because otherwise, because they are so powerful, they would have become a burden for the world. and he prepared going back to his abode. But Uddhava requested him, "Please let me go with you to your abode." But Krishna said to Uddhava, he instructed him to take sannyas, and Krishna would give him a message for the sages of Badarikashram, because they wanted to see the Lord, but the Lord had to wrap up his pastimes, but he made arrangement that he would give a message to Uddhava, and Uddhava would deliver that message to the sages of Badarika. And that message is called the Uddhava Gita. Here in the introduction of the Uddhava Gita, mainly, I read it this morning, and in the introduction it said it's the instructions in the Uddhava Gita are similar to those in Bhagavad Gita. So the Uddhava Gita contains instructions similar to those imparted to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but it also contains very confidential teachings that are not available in the Bhagavad Gita. So we find in Bhagavad Gita 5 truths that are discussed: Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. And this same will be discussed here. But the first part we will discuss now, the part of the, especially this chapter and the following, the instructions of the Avaduta Brahman, that Dattatreya, and this is very practical knowledge, how to apply.
Oh, let's see.
Is Bhagavad Gita applied? That of course in the Bhagavatam itself and beyond we find many Gitas. We have heard in the 10th canto about the Venu Gita, the Brahmana Gita, the Gopa Gita, the Avanti Gita. There is also the Bhagavad Gita, the Uddhava Gita, the Gita Govinda. So many Gitas. So we will start with this 7th chapter, which is introduction and of the Avaduta Brahman, and the first teachings is sharing with all of us. So now we will be reading the first verse. What I will do, we will read the verses, and I will share the comments of Bhujan Prabhu with you, and Mother Narayani, and some of my own comments related to these sections, because at the time we discussed it, we had Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comments at that time, Bhaktivedanta Maharaj's comments, but the other commentaries may not have been available. But now Bhanu Maharaj was very kind to share me the commentaries we have today, and I will share them on the screen. So text 7171, the beginning of the Uddhava Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudiret Nastpriya Zabhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamastake Bhakti Bhakti Naistiki. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Yatatamam Mahabhaga Tashikirsi Tameva Me Brahma Bhavo Lokapala Svarvasam Me Bhigangshina. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O greatly fortunate Uddhava, you have accurately revealed my desire to withdraw the Yadu dynasty from the earth and return to my own abode in Vaikuntha. Thus Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all the other planetary rules are now praying for me to resume my residence in Vaikuntha. So Uddhava, he understood the heart of the Lord. He knew that he wanted to withdraw himself. Because when King Ugrasena heard that the Yadu dynasty was cursed, he asked everyone to come to the Sudharma assembly hall, and Krishna was also there. And King Ugrasena said, we have been cursed by these sages, so we have to do atonement. Everyone, all the elders should go to Prabhas, do austerities, and give charity to the Brahmins. And Krishna did not say anything. But when Krishna left a little later to the forest, Uddhava understood. Krishna is so powerful. He could easily have counteracted his curse, but he did not. So he concluded Krishna is going to leave us. And so he revealed Krishna's desire to withdraw the Yadu dynasty of the earth and to return to his abode. We will see this Uddhava Gita is about application. Now the demigods are praying to go back to his abode because his mission is complete. So Krishna has his mission, which is complete. His mission was Yadai Dharmasya Glani Bhavta Bharata Bhutanam Dharmasya Tatatman Chichamham. That was his mission. And the demigods were praying to him that so he's approaching Uddhava. Why is he approaching Uddhava? Because he's a pure devotee and he has extraordinary qualities that we will see a little further. Text 2. Answering the prayers of Lord Brahma, I descended within this world along with my plenary portion, Lord Baladev, and performed various activities on behalf of the demigods. I've now completed my mission. Text 3. Now, due to the Brahma's curse, the Yadu dynasty will certainly perish by fighting among themselves. And on the 7th day from today, the ocean will rise up and inundate the city of Dwarka. We will read only paragraph 1 In this and the following verses, Lord Krishna indicates to Uddhava that he should immediately fix himself in self-realization by giving up all identification with the material world. Srila Jiva Goswami has pointed out that the Yadu dynasty was not actually destroyed by Lord Krishna, but merely removed from the vision of the world through the curse of the Brahmins. Similarly, the Lord's eternal abode Dvarka can never be drowned by the ocean. Nevertheless, all external approaches to this transcendental city were covered by the ocean, and thus the Lord's abode remains inaccessible to foolish persons in Kali Yuga, as will be described later in this canto. Srila Prabhupada makes the point that appearance and disappearance is the same. That a pure devotee is always in relation to Krishna. Sometimes we see him and sometimes we don't. So Dvarka is eternally there. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. That 4. O saintly Uddhava, in the near future I will abandon this earth. And then, being overwhelmed by the age of Kali, the earth will be bereft of all piety. That's text 4. Will again read only the first paragraph. Lord Krishna's plan was to bring Uddhava back to his eternal abode after a brief delay. Because of Uddhava's extraordinary spiritual qualities, the Lord wanted to engage him in propagating his message among other saintly persons who were not yet advanced to the stage of pure devotional service. However, the Lord assured Uddhava that he would not be bereft of the Lord's association for even a moment. Also, because Uddhava had become a perfect master of his senses, he would never be afflicted by the three modes of material nature. In this way, before bringing Uddhava back home, back to Godhead, the Lord empowered him to carry out a specific confidential mission. So we have heard of Uddhava many times. Uddhava was sent to Vrindavan to console the residents of Vrindavan. Uddhava was a counselor of Krishna. So yet Uddhava had in fact extraordinary spiritual qualities. Can someone share with us some extraordinary spiritual qualities of Uddhava? You remember? Yes, Chaikovina.
Maharaj, as a disciple of Brihaspati,
Yes, that's
He always remembers Krishna even up to his old age.
always remembers Krishna. Yes.
He even skipped the lunch, breakfast in engaging in the remembrance of Lord Krishna.
Okay. Well. Any other?
Maharaj, he has very deep and profound appreciation for gopis' mood for Krishna.
Yeah, that he learned about the gopis' love. Yeah. Anangamoyini?
He accepted Krishna's mission for him to stay on earth a bit longer before going back home to Godhead.
Yeah. He accepted a mission from Krishna. Okay. Ima Gopi?
He only accepted remnants from Krishna, like his clothes, his garlands, and his food, like that. He never tried to separately enjoy.
Yeah. Nice. most of the qualities you gave I have, but there are a few which are not having.
Sometimes Krishna used to take counsel from him.
Yeah, he was Krishna's
He
counselor.
acted as Krishna's counselor.
Yeah. So I was qualities. He had a strong desire to know the truth. He was feeling separation from Krishna. He had a strong faith in bhakti. He was a disciple of Brihaspati, that has been mentioned. And he looks like Krishna. And there's also been mentioned appreciation for the gopis' love. He got experience of Vraja Bhakti. So he was experienced. So I will read the last part of the purport, a long purport, that, see, the last paragraph. Unless the living entity recognizes the authority of the personality of Godhead, he remains a helpless victim in the clutches of Maya, or material illusion. He concocts different solutions to release himself from Maya. But these solutions are themselves creations of Maya, and thus cannot possibly release the conditioned soul. In fact, they only intensify his distress. In the next verse, Lord Krishna specifically warns Uddhava to avoid Kali Yuga and go back home, back to Godhead. Those of us who have already taken birth in Kali Yuga should also heed this advice and immediately take all necessary steps to go back to the Lord's eternal abode for a blissful life of perfect knowledge. The material world is never a happy place, especially during the fearful days of Kali Yuga. So, text 5. Krishna will start giving instructions to Uddhava now. My dear Uddhava, you should not remain here on the earth. Once I have abandoned this world. My dear devotee, you are sinless, but in Kali Yuga, the people will be addicted to all types of sinful activities. Therefore, do not stay here. So, that's what Bhujan said. We should pay attention to these instructions. What's the first instruction? Do not stay. That's the instruction. We will read at the end of the purport that from here. Thus Lord Krishna advised Uddhava not to remain on the earth in Kali Yuga. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord advises all living entities that they should never remain anywhere within the material universe during any age. Therefore, every living being should take advantage of the pressures of Kali Yuga to understand the overall useless nature of the material world and surrender himself at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Following in the footsteps of Uddhava, one should surrender to Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. Now, this was the first instruction. Do not stay. So Krishna will give a number of instructions, I think 5, 6, 7 instructions. We will hear them, but that's the first. Do not stay. In text 6. Now you should completely give up all attachment to your personal friends and relatives and fix your mind on me. Thus, being always conscious of me, you should observe all things with equal vision and wander through the earth. So this verse itself contains 4 instructions. So the first instruction was, do not stay. The second instruction here now, be detached. The third instruction is, be conscious of me. Fourth instruction, instruction, observe all things with equal vision. And 5, wander through the earth. So here is a contradiction. He says don't stay, and then he says you should wander throughout the earth. So we will read the second paragraph. That's the first, the second. Here. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments as follows on this verse. At the end of the manifest pastimes on the earth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, taught as follows within his mind. During my pastimes on earth, I have satisfied the desires of all those devotees who anxiously desire to see me. I have duly married many thousands of queens, headed by Rukmini, whom I personally kidnapped, and I have killed innumerable demons in various places and by various means. I have attended meetings, reunions, and ceremonies with many friends, relatives, and well-wishers in cities such as Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka, Hastinapur, and Mithila, and thus I have kept constantly busy coming and going in the performance of pastimes. I further arranged to give my personal association to great devotees who are situated below the earthly planet. In order to please my mother Devaki and return her 6 deceased sons who were killed by Kamsa, I descended to the planet of Sutal and blessed my great devotee Bali Maharaj, in order to return the dead son of my spiritual master Sandipani Muni. I personally went to the court of Ravinandana or Yamaraj, and thus he was able to see me face to face, even blessed the residents of heaven, such as Mother Aditi and Kashyapa Muni, with my personal association when I traveled there to steal the Parijata flower for my wife Satyabhama, and in order to please the inhabitants of Mahavishnu's abode, such as Nanda and Sunanda and Sudarshan, I traveled to Vaikuntha Loka to recover the deceased children of a frustrated Brahmin. These innumerable devotees who ardently desire to see me have received the objects of their prayers. That's these commentaries here. It's like a summary of Krishna's pastimes. Unfortunately, Naranarayan Rishi and the great Paramahamsa sages who live with him in Badarikashram, although most enthusiastic to see me, never yet fulfilled their desires. I've been on the earth only for 125 years, and the scheduled time is now up. Being busily engaged in my pastimes, I did not have time to give my blessings to these great sages. Nevertheless, Uddhava is practically the same as me. He is a great devotee and shares my own transcendental opulences. Thus he is the right person for me to send to Badarikashram. I shall give Uddhava complete transcendental knowledge by which one becomes detached from the material world and in turn can deliver this knowledge, the science of transcending the kingdom of illusion, to the worthy sages of Badarikashram. In this way he can teach them the method of rendering loving devotional service to my lotus feet. Such loving devotional service rendered to me is the most valuable treasure, and my hearing such knowledge, the desires of great sages such as Naranarayan will be completely fulfilled. Now that those great souls who have surrendered unto me are always equipped with transcendental knowledge and detachment from the material world. Sometimes being busy in their devotional service, they may appear to forget me. However, a pure devotee has achieved the platform of love for me, will always be protected by such sincere devotion. Even if such a devotee should suddenly give up his life while neglecting to fix his mind intensely on me, such a devotee's loving feelings are so powerful that they afford him all protection. Even if there is a temporary moment of forgetfulness, such devotion will bring the devotee to my lotus feet, which are beyond the vision of ordinary materialistic persons. Uddhava is my pure devotee. Knowledge of me and attachment from this world have again been aroused in him, because he can give up my association. I will read the next paragraph until before the quote of Bhagavad Gita. So the sincere servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are vigorously endeavoring to spread the Krishna consciousness movement for the pleasure of their spiritual master and Lord Krishna. At the present time, thousands of devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement in all parts of the world are working long hours under difficult conditions to distribute transcendental literature and thus enlighten the people, the general populace. In this effort, the devotees have no personal motivation, but are simply desire of pleasing their spiritual master by distributing his book. The people who receive this literature usually have no previous experience of Krishna consciousness, yet they are so impressed by the purity of the devotees they meet that they eagerly purchase the books and magazines in order to execute the tremendous task of spreading Krishna consciousness. The devotees are tirelessly laboring day and night because they are on the platform of loving devotion. Although superficially such busy devotees may occasionally not think directly of the lotus feet of Krishna, such loving devotion will undoubtedly take them back to the lotus feet of Krishna, and being pleased by their service, the Lord himself will again arouse their unflinching meditation upon his personal form. This is the beauty of Bhakti Yoga, which depends wholly and solely on the mercy of the all-merciful personality of God, Sri Krishna. This is the only totally safe means of uprooting the deep desires for material enjoyment, attaining pure love of Krishna, and going beyond the material universe to the kingdom of God. So, this from the Bhakti Sandarbha of Shiva Goswami. I don't know if here we have here Shiva Goswami. No, Shiva Goswami. But there is in the Bhakti Sandarbha Shiva Goswami. Because Uddhava is a perfect, liberated soul, the instructions are not meant for Uddhava, but for others. It should be understood to be addressed to others. This is the Lord's intention here. So this is Shiva Goswami, his comment on this instruction. That text 7. My dear Uddhava, the material universe that you perceive through your mind, speech, eyes, ears, and other senses is an illusory creation that one imagines to be real due to the influence of Maya. In fact, you should know that all the objects of the material senses are illusory. So the material universe you perceive is an illusory creation, Krishna says. That we will read the first paragraph. The question may be raised that since we find good and bad qualities throughout the material world, how can Lord Krishna advise Uddhava to see everything equally? In this verse, Krishna explains that material good and evil are a creation of the illusory energy, just as the objects of a dream are mental creation. So, it is an illusion to see something is good, something is bad. See equally, that's the instruction. It is temporary. That we go to the third paragraph, 6 lines down, that here. When we are entangled in a network of material designations such as race, nationality, sectarian religion, political affiliation, etc., is absorbed in the experience of combining his body and other bodies with material sense objects, thinking that the sense objects to be sources of happiness and satisfaction. Unfortunately, the entire material world, along with the senses that experience it, is a temporary, that experience it, momentum, is a temporary creation that will be annihilated by the time potency of the Supreme Lord. Despite our foolish hopes and dreams, there is no actual happiness on the material platform. The real truth is not material, no, it is temporary. The real truth is called Atma, or eternal soul, and among all eternal souls, one is supreme. He is called the personality of Godhead, or in his original form is known as Krishna. The knowledge-gathering process culminates in perception of the inconceivable, transcendental form of Krishna. One who is not perceiving Krishna in everything and everything in Krishna is undoubtedly on the platform of mental concoction. In this verse, Lord Krishna warns Uddhava to remain clear of this illusory platform, of existence. So this is the illusion that there is happiness. If you don't see Krishna, then you are on the platform of mental concoction. That is the message here. 8. One whose consciousness is bewildered by illusion perceives many differences in value and meaning among all material objects. Thus one engages constantly on the platform of the material good and evil and is bound by such conceptions. Absorbed in material duality, such a person contemplates the performance of compulsory duties. Non-performance of such duties are performance of forbidden activities. So it means that when we are absorbed, absorbed in material duality, then one sees things as good and bad. That the purpose of the first paragraph here is the first paragraph. Someone willing to read this first paragraph, please?
The illusory mental platform of existence is described in this verse. The word ayuktasa indicates the conditioned soul who does not fix his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is clearly described in Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literature that Lord Krishna, the Absolute Truth, is within everything, and everything is within the Lord. The example may be given that when a woman loves a man, she is most eager to see him, and she daily sees him dressed in different clothes. Actually, the woman is interested not in the clothes, but in the man. Similarly, within every material object is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, one who has developed love of God is constantly seeing the Lord everywhere, and not just the superficial material objects that cover the Lord.
Thank you. That, now we go, there is a quote here from the Srimad Bhagavatam. That, I will only read the translation of this verse, the quote. Guna pravaha etasmin kapsapa konva tvanugraha kasvarga narakakova kim sukam dukameva. This material world resembles the waves of a constant flowing river. Therefore, what is the curse? What is a favor? What are the heavenly planets? What are the hellish planets? What is actually happiness? What is actually distress? Because the waves flow constantly, none of them has an eternal effect. Now I will read from Bhaktivedanta Sarasvati Maharaj commentary on this verse. Yeah, verse 8. Mental speculators distance themselves from the consideration of the absolute truth and engage in enjoying various sense objects. Being bereft of the service of the non-dual substance, the son of the king of Raj. That is not the constitutional propensity of the spirit soul, that is the illusion of the unsuccessful yogis. Being controlled by the conception of faults and qualities, such people accept a few temporary activities as prescriptions and a few activities as prohibition. In this way they attribute superiority and inferiority to various objects. But if all objects are seen in relation to Krishna, such distinction will not arise. In order to attain liberation from such conceptions that are based on finding faults and attributing qualities, the topic of Brahma Gayatri has been described. Spiritual knowledge means knowledge with practical application. If one does not know the mystery behind of this, then he is sure to fall into illusion. Thus he attributes faults and qualities to different persons and addresses them as Satkarmi, Vikarma, and Kukarma. That's, yes. If further, you have this verse here. Further, Paramatmanam evaikam kartaram vediyapamam samuchyate smat samsarat paramatmanam etiva. Translation. On the other hand, a person who knows that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the actual controller of material nature, and that it is ultimately he who is moving everything, can free himself from the bondage of material existence. Such a person goes to the abode of the Lord. So Krishna tells in this verse, don't be absorbed in duality. And so he gives Uddhava a sixth instruction. So with equal vision, see the oneness, see the Lord in everything. So in the material world, it is not good to see duality, but to see how Krishna is the oneness in everything. That's good. In a higher sense, we see spiritual duality, that we are separated from Krishna and that we can love him. That otherwise, where is the question of love? In the material world, we see the second as our body, but in the spiritual world, we see the second as Krishna. There is a material and spiritual duality. In verse 9, we will get the seventh instruction and the eighth instruction in the next verse. Therefore, bringing all your senses under control and thus subduing the mind, you should see the entire world as situated within the self, who is expanded everywhere, and you should also see the individual self within me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So control the senses and subdue the mind. 7. And 8. Vision. You should see the entire world as situated within the self, and then see that self in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So at the end of the purport, the middle of the last paragraph, there it should say somewhere, this is the last paragraph. So it's here. If one engages the senses in the service of the personality of Godhead, then one enjoys unlimited pleasure upon seeing the transcendental beauty of the Lord's form. But unless one qualifies himself by pure loving devotion, the Lord does not award him this exalted experience. Therefore, every conditioned soul should end its unnecessary separation from the personality of Godhead and rejoin the Lord's blissful company. Lord Krishna personally comes down to open the blind eyes of the conditioned souls, and thus the Lord personally teaching Uddhava so that sincere souls in the future might take advantage of his instructions. Indeed, hundreds and millions of people even now derive spiritual enlightenment from Lord Krishna's instruction in Bhagavad Gita. So yes, these were all the instructions that so yes, Mother Hema Gopi, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, yes.
It looks like some kind of Mayavad interpretation it could be easily interpreted in a Mayavadi way also, no Maharaj? Uh, it's not talking about devotion, but like seeing oneself in God and all that. So I'm wondering why Krishna will, is it some other kind of yoga? What is happening? I was little bewildered, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yes, these are preliminary instruction for making spiritual advancement. And these are, yes, Krishna speaks always, also in Bhagavad Gita, to different levels of transcendentalists at the same time. He wants to inspire also the impersonalists to make advancement attaining Brahman. And he wants to inspire the yogis to come to Paramatma realization. There are similar instructions, but the instructions for the Bhakti Yoga are specific, and that is clarified. What does Krishna mean, really? That is what is Krishna's mission. Krishna's mission is to bring us back to Godhead. The Krishna's meaning is to bring us to Bhakti Yoga. I will first now show, let's look again at these instructions, these 9 instructions. Let's see. Just a moment. I'll stop the sharing. Okay, it's here. Now we can share. Moment, and go back to the Zoom. How do I do that? Here, Zoom. We are back. So this is the Uddhava Gita. These were Uddhava's qualities we spoke. We heard a few more. So this is his instructions. Do not stay, be detached, be conscious of me. Observe all things with equal vision. Wander throughout the earth. With equal vision, see oneness, see the Lord in everything. Control the senses and subdue the mind. Vision, see the entire world as situated within the self, and then see that self in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are the instructions which he gave to Uddhava. Do not stay, be detached. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, be equal in happiness and distress. We see in the Bhagavad Gita, the first chapters are preliminary knowledge to advance in devotional service. In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna does not speak about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's in the 9th chapter. That's for the bhaktis. But these are direct instruction on Bhakti Yoga. But to come there, for those who are not devotees, they need to follow all these instructions. So with equal vision, see oneness. Krishna says that So if we go over the instructions, do not stay. And then he says, give up all attachment to your friends and relatives and fix your mind on me. That's a direct, be conscious of me. That's an direct instruction in Bhakti Yoga. My dear Uddhava, know for certain that this material world which you perceive and so on is an illusory creation that's influenced by Maya. You should know that everything is temporary. And then it says, one should not be absorbed in the duality of this world, but seeing with equal vision that should wander throughout the earth, see oneness, see the Lord in everything. That's also a direct instruction in Bhakti Yoga. See the Lord in everything. Control the senses and subdue the mind. And the vision, see the entire world as situated within the self and see the self in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's also a direct instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these verses are bringing us to Bhakti Yoga. And now, these are the first instructions. Now, what are the results herefrom? What are the results of following these instructions? So these are the instructions. And we go back now to the text. Canto. And we will hear about the results now. I have to go back here. Yeah, at the VIGLT exam, they were asking to give some of these instructions and some of the results of these. It's good to remember them. So in text 10 gives 6 results. Being fully endowed with conclusive knowledge of the Vedas and having realized the ultimate purpose of such knowledge in practice, you will be able to perceive the pure self, and thus your mind will be satisfied. At that time you will become dear to all living beings, headed by the demigods, and you will never be hampered by any disturbance in life. So the first is you will be endowed with conclusive knowledge. Jnana. Jnana is the first. And then it says, and have realized the ultimate purpose of such knowledge. Vijnana, second result. And then that Atma Bhuta Saryam, that then the next is perception of the self. It's here in the verse. We will perceive the pure self. That, and then the fourth result, your mind, you will be satisfied.
So it's my mistake. I have expectations. It's my mistake.
It seems someone
On
wants
video.
to speak.
I'm on video.
That,
I didn't eat. What? I was upset.
can someone mute that conversation?
I don't know who is talking.
Thank you. Okay. And then the fifth instruction is dear to all living beings. You become dear, that's the fifth result. And the sixth result is one will be not hampered by any disturbance in life. So if you follow these instructions of Uddhava, then you will get this result. That, so, can someone read the purport here on this, the purport?
May I read, Maharaj?
Yes, please.
As explained in Bhagavad Gita, one whose mind is free from material desire becomes disinterested in demigod worship, since the purpose of such worship is material amelioration. The demigods, however, are never displeased with one who becomes a pure devotee of Lord Krishna and offers all of his worship to the Lord. The demigods themselves are humble servants of Lord Krishna, as was amply demonstrated in Lord Krishna's pastimes on the earth. One who can experience the eternal soul within everyone's body certainly becomes dear to all living beings. Since he sees everyone as qualitatively equal to himself, he does not envy anyone, nor try to lord it over any other living being. Being free from envy and a well-wisher of all, such a self-realized soul is naturally dear to everyone. As stated in the song to the six Goswamis, Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priyakarao Nirmatsarao Ujitao.
Thank you. Maharaj Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, this naturally arouses a question in our mind that when Uddhava is on the platform of love, love of Godhead, and he has been to Vrindavan, he has learned about Braja Bhakti. I am not clear of the context why Krishna is giving this jnana, knowledge of being equal, equanimity, impersonal realization, impersonal knowledge. Is it meant for the sages in Badrik Ashram? But even if it is meant for sages in Badrik Ashram, I understand that even Nar Narayan Rishi are on very elevated platform. So, what is this knowledge meant for? Who is this knowledge meant for in the given context? The context is not clear, Maharaj.
Jiva Goswami comments on this section. Because Uddhava is a perfect liberated soul, the instructions are not meant for Uddhava, but for others. It should be understood to be addressed to others. This is the Lord's intention here. Who are these others? It's meant for the sages of Badarika Shram. That's mentioned for them. That is the opinion of Jiva Goswami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, but then it gives another follow-up question. That if Krishna is living this world, why is he giving them analytical, impersonal knowledge rather than talking about pure devotional service directly?
The sages of Badarika Shram, as most people in this world who are on the spiritual path, are not yet on the level of devotion. And Krishna wants to advance, and he wants them, Uddhava, to speak on their level and bring them to the platform of devotion, gradually. And that's the purpose of the Uddhava Gita. Yes?
Thank you, Maharaj.
You have to speak on the level of the person, but they can understand what they are acquainted with. That because he cannot jump to the highest knowledge at one, it's a whole process to get there. Bhagavad Gita could be very short. Krishna could from the first chapter straight to 1865 and would be a short Bhagavad Gita, but is concerned also about all the others who are misled or who are following a path which is on the preliminary level of spiritual life, that all the transitional levels is concerned with them also. I will read now from the 4th canto, chapter 9, text 46. So, that seeing we becoming dear to all living entities, that's the point here, addressed also in this purport. And there we have Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj is coming back. He's coming back after having the experience of having a darshan of Prishnigarbha Vishnu, and he meets Suruchi. Suruchi is the mother who caused him so much trouble. That 4946. Suruchi, the younger mother of Dhruva Maharaj, seeing that the innocent boy had fallen at her feet, immediately picked him up and embraced him with her hands, and with tears of feeling she blessed him with the words, "My dear boy, long may you live." Next verse, 4947. Unless one unto one who has transcendental qualities due to friendly behavior with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities offer honor, just as water automatically flows by nature. In the purport, why was Suruchi, who was not at all favorable disposed toward Dhruva, blessed him, "Long may you live," which means that she also desired good fortune for him. The answer is given in this verse. Since Dhruva Maharaj was blessed by the Lord, due to his transcendental qualities, everyone was bound to offer him all respects and benedictions, just as water by its nature flows downwards. A devotee of the Lord does not demand respect from anyone, but wherever he goes, he is honored by everyone throughout the whole world with all respect. Srinivasacharya said that the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan are respected throughout the entire universe because the devotee, having pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all emanations, automatically pleases everyone, and thus everyone offers him respect. There is also the story of Rasikananda and the mad elephant. The elephant came to attack him, when he came to Rasikananda, he stopped before Rasikananda, and Rasikananda gave him initiation. The elephant became a devotee, and he was trying to serve, bringing grains from the forest. These are the examples. Bhaktivedanta Sarasvati Maharaj. Due to lack of knowledge regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that Vrachandananda, the impersonalists cannot understand about the object of worship, and the worshippers situated who are situated in the spiritual kingdom. So Bhaktivedanta Sarasvati brings up the spiritual duality. The eternal devotees of Krishna who accept the eternal personal form of the Lord and who are expert in seeing. Spiritual variegatedness are blissful due to realizing their service to Krishna. They become liberated from seeing the difference between the body and the owner of the body. So, the significance of the four objectives of life is exposed. Those who are devoid of the concept of Ari and are glorifying the concept of impersonalists, which is a snare of Ari's illusory Maya, facing an impediment on the path of self-realization. As a result, they bring about their own ruination as they become like Jarasandha and so on. Theoretical knowledge can be purified when it is practically applied. It can be purified. It's interesting that text 11. One who has transcended material good and evil automatically acts in accordance with religious injunctions and avoids forbidden activities. The self-realized person does this spontaneously like an innocent child, and not because he is thinking in terms of material good and evil. There's a comment here again of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati on verse 12. Self-realized souls see all objects of this world to be related to Krishna. They never fall into material existence on account of their spirit of enjoyment. They make friendship with all living entities, knowing them to be ingredients for Krishna's worship. They are naturally peaceful and undisturbed because of their expertise in the field of knowledge and its practical application. No mundane temptation can distract their mind from the lotus feet of Krishna. Those who fail to see this world as a house of happiness because of their unsuccessful attempt to enjoy this world engage in fruitive activities to achieve material enjoyment. When they become disgusted with material enjoyment, they want to temporarily renounce such enjoyments. That is why Shigara Sundar has instructed about Falgu Varagya and Yukta Varagya, which are the confidential purports of Srimad Bhagavatam meant for the understanding of the fortunate living entities. Now, text 13, 12 first. 12. One who is the kind well-wisher of all living entities who is peaceful and firmly fixed in knowledge and realization, see me within all things. Such a person never again falls down into the cycle of birth and death. So Krishna here speaks about Bhakti Yoga, direct connection with seeing in all things. 13. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, O King, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, thus instructed this pure devotee Uddhava, who was eager to receive knowledge from the Lord. Uddhava then offered obeisance to the Lord and spoke as follows. Text 14. Sri Uddhava said, My dear Lord, You learn about the results of yoga practice. You are so kind that by your own influence you distribute the perfection of yoga to your devotee. Thus you are the Supreme Soul which realized through yoga. And it is you who are the origin of all mystic power. For my supreme benefit, you have explained the procedure for giving up the material world through the process of sannyas, renunciation. That's the process of sannyas, renunciation. Interesting. That's verse 14. We will read the second paragraph, the purport of this verse. Can someone read this second purport? It's just until only the second paragraph.
Can I read, Maharaj?
Yeah, until here.
Yeah. In the material world, we falsely try to link ourselves with the objects of the senses. Man wants to link with woman and woman with man. Or one tries to link up with the nationalism, socialism, capitalism, or innumerable other creations of the illusory energy of the Lord. Since we are linking ourselves to temporary objects, the relationships are temporary, the results are temporary, and at the time of death, we become bewildered when all our connections are suddenly cut off by Maya. If we link ourselves to Krishna, however, our relationship with him will continue even after death. As explained in Bhagavad Gita, the relationship with Krishna that we develop in this life will continue to increase in our next life until we achieve the supreme goal of entering Krishna's planet. Those who sincerely serve the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, following the transcendental lifestyle prescribed by the Lord, will enter the Lord's abode at the end of his lifetime. Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you.
Thank you. So there is here again a long commentary of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj, from which I will only read the second and the third paragraph. So materialists are attached to hearing and chanting the topics of their wife and their children. Learned scholars are attached to hearing and chanting the topics of scriptural debates. Yogis are attached to the distress produced from controlling their life air. Ascetics are attached to their performance of austerities, and pseudo-renunciates are attached to the cultivation of dry speculative knowledge. But the servants of Sri Chaitanya are always fixed in the path of Bhakti Yoga, because the devotees of the Lord have adopted the process of devotional service, which is inclusive of detachment, giving up other inferior attachment. They are real renunciants or yukta varahis. That is why the Supreme Lord is addressed here as Yogesha, because the servants of Yogeshwar, like Uddhava, dovetail all other yoga process in execution of Bhakti Yoga. The Lord is addressed here as Yoga Vinyasa, because the constitutional propensities of the living entity clearly manifest in the practice of Bhakti Yoga, the so-called Yogatma. In addition, because he is the source of all types of yoga, is referred to as Yoga Sambhava. Only persons who are situated in devotional service achieve the supreme benefits of life, and thus are able to properly give up all non-devotional propensities. This is the most beneficial thing that can happen to the spirit soul. Sri Krishna had mercifully taught this Paramahamsa Dharma in the form of Bhakti Yoga to Uddhava. Then, so Lord Krishna has instructed Uddhava in sannyas. These instructions are mentioned are meant for sannyas, but every devotee has to take sannyas in the heart. So that's for everyone. My dear Lord, O Supreme Soul, for those whose mind are attached to sense gratification, and especially those bereft of devotion unto me, such renunciation of material enjoyment is most difficult to perform. That is my opinion. So here Uddhava shares his impression. He says, you gave me instructions for sannyas, but I'm thinking it's too difficult. That now text 16. O my Lord, I myself am most foolish, because my conscience is merged in the material body and bodily relations, which are all manufactured by your illusory energy. Thus I am thinking, I am this body, and all of these relatives are mine. Therefore, my Lord, please instruct your poor servant. Please tell me how I can very easily carry out your instructions. So Krishna gives these instructions. But Uddhava is asking, how do I do this now? How do I bring this in practice? How do I see you everywhere? How to do this? How to detach me from my relatives and friends? I'm in illusion that I'm this body. How can I very easily carry out your instructions? So, of course, we want all we want the easy way out, but we have an easy path made by Srila Prabhupada. He made it easy: chant, dance, eat prasadam. So this is the Kevala Ananda Kanda. And we can look here at the purpose a few lines down, yeah, there, here. Can someone read this section we practically see, and then till the end of the purpose?
Actually see that many sinful persons enter the International Society of Krishna Consciousness and after preliminary purification become most repentant for their previous illicit activities. They are shocked when they realize how they gave up the personal association of God to pursue the useless forms created by Maya. Therefore, they wholeheartedly pray to the spiritual master and Lord Krishna to be engaged eternally in transcendental devotional service. Such a repentant eager mentality is most auspicious for spiritual advancement. The Lord certainly answers the prayers of a repentant devotee desperate to escape the clutches of illusion.
Thank you. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj relates this verse to Namaparat. I will read this short purport. Those who are attacked by Namaparat in the form of maintaining the conception of I and mine pollute their real ego due to influence of the illusory energy of the Lord of Vaikuntha. At that time they display no power to follow the instructions of the Supreme Lord due to lack of surrender. Living entities become bewildered by false ego. Due to the influence of false ego, the living entities become averse to the Supreme Lord and are then bound by the ropes of Maya. On that platform, the constitutional position of the living entities become covered. In other words, their inclination towards the Lord's service slows down considerably. This is why Uddhava is praying to remain situated in the service propensity without deviation. Now, text 17. My dear Lord, you are the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you reveal yourself to your devotees. Besides your Lordship, I do not see anyone who can actually explain perfect knowledge to me. Such a perfect teacher is not to be found even among demigods in heaven. Indeed, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma are bewildered by your illusory energy. They are conditioned souls who accept their own material bodies and body expansions to be the highest truth. Okay, that's 17. So the demigods, they cannot give this knowledge, which Krishna is going to give, because they fall into illusion like we. We learned before that Indra fell into illusion, thinking that Naranarayana Rishi would try to get his position. He tried to bring him into illusion with this woman, but he did not realize that Narayana Rishi had even better women than he had. In the third paragraph of the purport, here it is said, third paragraph, the purport, because the demigods because the demigods, got someone read till the end?
Because the demigods are attached to ruling the created universe, their devotion to God is tinged with material desires. They are therefore attracted to those portions of Vedic knowledge that award the various material opulences necessary for perpetuating their celestial life. Sri Uddhava, however, being a pure devotee of the Lord, is determined to go back to Godhead for eternal life, and is thus not at all interested in the sophisticated Vedic knowledge of the demigods. The material world is a gigantic prison whose inmates are subjected to birth, death, old age, and illusion, and a pure devotee has no desire to remain there, even as a first class prisoner like the demigods. Sri Uddhava desires to return to the kingdom of God, and for this reason directly approaches the personality of Godhead. The Lord is Swadrishaha, or one who reveals himself to his devotee. Thus, only the Lord himself or his pure devotee who faithfully repeats the Lord's message can take one beyond the material sky into the free atmosphere of the spiritual planets, where the liberated souls enjoy an eternal life of bliss and omniscience.
Yes, that. So this was text 17, right? Now text 18. We will go to text 23 and then have a break. And after the break, we will start factually the Uddhava Gita, the 24 spiritual masters. And that then for another hour, if or whatever time is remaining. That so text 18. Uddhava is taking here the role of a conditioned soul. 18. Therefore, Lord, feeling weary of material life and tormented by its distress, I now surrender unto you, because you are a perfect master. You are unlimited, all-knowing, supreme personality of Godhead, whose spiritual abode is in Vaikuntha, is free from all disturbances. In fact, you are known as Narayan, the true friend of all living entities. So Uddhava is taking the position of conditioned soul. He says, now I am bewildered, please instruct me. He accepts Krishna as his spiritual master. In the purport, paragraph 2, that so we may faithfully serve a master, a father or demigod, but when it is time for us to receive our reward for faithful service, the master may die. Therefore, Lord Krishna is here described as Anantaparam, which indicates that he is not limited by time or space. The word Anta indicates a termination of time, and Par indicates a spatial termination. Therefore, Anantaparam means that Lord Krishna is not limited by time or space, and thus will always dutifully reward his faithful servants. So Ananta means time and Param means space. So this is one reason why we should serve Krishna, that he is not limited by time and space. And the third paragraph gives an other reason another reason why we should serve Krishna. Because Krishna is Sarvajna, omniscient. He never forgets the service of his devotees. He is therefore never ungrateful. So another reason why serving Krishna is that is Ishvara, is the supreme controller. Lord Krishna's promise of protection to his devotees is eternally valid. That's in the 4th paragraph. And then in the last paragraph, that says, yes, here, if we do not serve the personality of Godhead, we will not know the ultimate result of our service. But here Lord Krishna is described Akunta, Vikunta, Disnyam. Lord Krishna has an eternal abode called Vaikunta, and the abode is never disturbing by anyone. The faithful servants of Lord Krishna will certainly go back to Godhead, back home, for an eternal life of bliss and knowledge in the personal abode of the Lord. However, since even the demigods, and what to speak of insignificant human beings, are subject sooner or later to annihilation, what ultimate benefit can be derived from serving them? That text 19. The Supreme Lord replied, generally those human beings who can expertly analyze the actual situation of the material world are able to raise themselves beyond the inauspicious life of gross sense gratification. So we have the 2nd paragraph here, in that comment of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Can someone read this?
Can I read, Maharaj?
Yes, please.
According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, Lord Krishna considered Uddhava to be more intelligent than even the demigods in heaven. Uddhava, however, was feeling discouraged, thinking himself to be unqualified to render devotional service to the Lord. But Uddhava was actually perfectly situated because he had achieved Lord Krishna as his personal spiritual master. Similarly, the members of Krishna consciousness movement are guided by the instructions of the society's founder Acharya. Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Brajagacharya Stotra Sata Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Therefore, a sincere member of the Krishna conscious movement should never feel discouraged, but should rather count his blessings and do the needful to go back home, back to Godhead. Within the material world, certain activities are auspicious and produce happiness, whereas other activities, being sinful or inauspicious, and cause unlimited suffering. Even one who has not yet received the complete mercy of the bona fide Krishna conscious spiritual master should conclude by sharp intelligence that there is no happiness in the ordinary material life and that the real self interest lies beyond material platform.
And then we have a comment of Madhvacharya Prabhu, the last paragraph. Can someone read the last paragraph? Since Srila Madhvacharya points out.
Srila Madhvacharya points out that even if one is expert not only in material knowledge but also in spiritual knowledge, one will enter into the darkness of ignorance if one neglects the association of devotees of the Lord. Therefore, one should not misinterpret this verse in a way that minimizes the significance of pure devotee spiritual master. One who is vichakshanaha or expert will eventually come to understand the difference between matter and spirit. Such a person will certainly recognize and appreciate the genuine spiritual master. One who is advanced in knowledge undoubtedly becomes humble, and thus an expert, advanced human being will never neglect the lotus feet of the pure devotee of the Lord.
Right. Now, Krishna will start to start to introduce the 24 gurus. An intelligent person, expert in perceiving the world around him and in applying sound logic, can achieve real benefit to his own intelligence. that sometimes one acts as one's own spiritual master. That is interesting. That so at the end of the purport, there it is said, the symptom of an enlightened servant of Krishna is that he is eager for the company of such great souls. Thus, by one's sensitive and rational observation of this material world, one should come to appreciate the value of spiritual life in association of devotees. That text 21. In the human form of life, those who are self-controlled and expert in spiritual science of Sankhya can directly see me with all of my potencies. With all of my potencies. That the two, we go to the two last paragraphs. That can someone read these two last paragraphs?
A spiritual master becomes bona fide by his full surrender to his spiritual master. But as explained in this chapter, one may also act as his own guru. This means that an intelligent and perceptive person can understand the nature of this world and his own limitations. Such a person then becomes very much inclined to associate with the pure devotees of the Lord and to receive the mercy of those who are advanced in Krishna consciousness. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, Sankhya Yoga, as described here, refers to the rigorous intellectual progress of the Jnana Yoga system, along with the devotion of Bhakti Yoga, which emphasizes the mercy of the lotus feet of the pure devotees. Actually, Jnana Yoga is a factor in Bhakti Yoga system since Krishna is Jnana Gamya, or the goal of all knowledge. The Lord also says in Bhagavad Gita 10:10 that He personally enlightens a sincere devotee with all knowledge. In this chapter, Lord Krishna is training Uddhava to see the Lord's personal form in the course of his daily experiences in the material world. The Lord has already indicated to Uddhava that he will travel throughout the world in samadhi or trance. And now the Lord is preparing Uddhava to travel as a true sannyasi, seeing the personality of Godhead everywhere.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thus seeing through these 24 gurus is a way of seeing Krishna in this world. That is the purpose. So this will prepare Uddhava for traveling throughout the world. We will travel throughout the world and see Krishna everywhere. Of course, we will hear now the entire Uddhava Gita, text 22. In this world there are many kinds of created bodies, some of which one leg. Mother Eva, am I groping?
Sorry, Maharaj, I can wait after you finish if you want.
Okay.
So.
In this world there are many kinds of created bodies, some with one leg, some with 2, 3, 4 or more legs, and still others with no legs. But of all of these, the human form is actually dear to me. 23. Although I, the Supreme Lord, can never be captured by ordinary sense perception, those situated in human life may use their intelligence and other faculties of perception to directly search me through both apparent and indirect ascertained symptoms. So you have to use your intelligence and your eyes, ears, etc., to search for Krishna. That you have here this purport. That's the first paragraph. that here. The words Shreya, Maner, Kunai indicate the rational and intellectual faculties of the human brain. All of these can be used to directly and indirectly perceive the personality of Godhead. Indirectly, one may experience the Lord through his creation. Since we are experiencing this world through our intelligence, we may conclude that our own intelligence must have a creator, and that the creator is therefore supremely intelligent. Thus, through simple logic, any sane man can understand that there is a supreme personality of Godhead, the controller of everything. So this is what we will be hearing. How to perceive indirectly Krishna in this world. So that is indirect, but direct. The last paragraph, that one may also directly perceive the Lord through chanting and hearing his holy names and the glories. Shravana Kirtanam Vishnu means that one should always chant and hear the glories of the Lord. One who perfectly hears and chants will undoubtedly see the Lord face to face. Lord Krishna is all-pervading, and one should search for him everywhere. By the transcendental senses purified by Bhakti Yoga, one may directly perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As indicated by the word Ada in this verse, this perception is direct and not imaginary. This point has been elaborately explained by Srila Prabhupada in his purpose to this verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.35, that Bhagavan Sarvabhuteshu Dakshita Sarvanahari Drisher Buddhit Adiba Drisher Buddhya Dibirdrasta Lakshaner Anuma Pakai. The personality of God, the Lord Sri Krishna, is in every living being, along with the individual soul, and this fact is perceived and hypothesized in our own acts of seeing and taking help from the intelligence. So I want to go with you now to the Vedas, and go to the second verse of the Bhagavatam Chatusloki, because that is what we are going to do with the Uddhava Gita. Etavateva jihnasyam tatvashnichna sunatvam amvayavyatrekabhyam yatsat sarvata sarvata. A person who is searching after the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. If we, here in the purport, it says, to unfold the mystery of Bhakti Yoga, as it is explained in previous verse, is the ultimate stage of all inquiries, or the highest objective for the inquisitive. Everyone is searching after self-realization in different ways, by Karma Yoga, by Jnana Yoga, by Dhyana Yoga, by Raja Yoga, and by Bhakti Yoga, etc. To engage in self-realization is the responsibility of every living entity developed in consciousness. One who is developed in consciousness certainly makes inquiries into the mystery of the self, of the cosmic situation and the problems of life in all species of life, social, political, economic, cultural, religious, moral, etc., and in their different branches. But here, the goal of all such inquiries is explained, that So what is the goal of all the inquiries? Is to find Krishna and serve Krishna. That's the final goal of all these inquiries. That Prabhupada speaks about philosophical speculation, how it is different from mental speculation. Philosophical speculation means that one is going to prove, one will try to prove how the scriptures are true. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna that I'm all pervading. And Arjuna is asking, how are you all pervading? I want to see that. So we want to see Krishna in this world, how he's present in everything by using our intelligence. And that is what these 24 gurus are about. Mother Hema Gopi, go.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Is it based on this section? Is it okay to sometimes encourage children to understand like how Krishna is in nature by allowing them to learn some lessons from different gurus, or is it like some kind of set 24, and is it okay to speculate about what we learn from nature? Can we encourage that in children, Maharaj? Thank you.
Yeah, we can increase their intelligence to see Krishna in this world. But these subjects, they are very, for children, are mostly too abstract. And you need an expertise to explain this. But yeah, to cultivate spiritual awareness must be done according to the age and so on. It's good you are following in the footsteps of expert educators in our movement in this regard. They have written a lot of materials for children. So they did already a lot of work. We don't have to invent much. And with their help, we can educate our children and train them to see Krishna in this world. Yeah. But it must be done according to their level and capacity. And that's a great challenge. Hare Krishna. So I propose we have now a break. It's 5:15. We can resume at 5:30. In 15 minutes from now, we can resume 5:30, and we will continue for another half hour, looking at the next verses. We will not be able to finish the chapter. We will need to continue tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Recording stopped.